Hello there. For me, right now, filming this city of Shoreline, Washington State, United States of America. It is Friday, 4 November 2022. It's still a little light outside, so we got some natural sunlight in addition to the overhead lights. And I decided that my pandemic update for the day, I'm going to continue fleshing out my pandemic daydreams. I'm going to make a streak of it. I think this is the third day that I'm doing this, or at least the second day. Point being, a streak is something that happens more than once and like back to back to back. So I'm streaking in that sense of, I got more stuff. So, what's up? Wikipedia approved editors. So I mentioned it'd be, especially if I achieved a notability and I used my user page, which is what I would want is using my user page on Wikipedia as my article, and setting the protection settings to a page. Approved users. How does that work? Approved users. So these are daydreams. These are dreams of, and because I'm not an approved editor on Wikipedia now, like an administrator or something like that, which is one form of approved editing. It'd be good. I dream of transparency and actually being able to see this kind of, as opposed to just being told that is the case. Approved editors, it requires consent both ways. So I can't just make a list of approved editors for a page. So for example, my user page, I put Kyle on there. My Kyle has to accept being an approved editor for the page to be on the approved list. So essentially it's like I submit my entries for the list of approved editors. However, it requires the editor to say yes. It's the consent. Yes means yes, not silence means yes, not no means yes, not I don't know means yes. No, only yes means yes. So that, and that applies for me if somebody wants me to be an approved user on the other page, I have to say yes. I can also decline it. And so like if somebody made a Wikipedia article and they decided to set permissions at approved users only and ask me to be on it, I could say yes. I could also say no. I could also delay. Or maybe there's a time frame of, we want to hear back within 60 days, kind of whether you accept this or not, the approved. But yeah, that's just musing through it. Up next, this is kind of, I mentioned maybe living in Italy with my husband's, maybe living with my soulmates, maybe living in Scotland with my soulmates. And it was like, my biggest priority here, numero uno, is moving in as soon as possible with my soulmates, if that's in my future. And so I think the as soon as possible, perhaps there's some of my soulmates that go, that fit that. However, the place might not already be set. So kind of talking through some of the other places I want to live. So like, or I want to live like permanently though, like, and same with Italy and Scotland. And these are dreams. These are like daydreams, right? So this is just like, I don't even know if this is possible. Per my life right now, my life experience, I was like, this is not possible. But maybe it is possible. So like moving to permanently live there, I guess if I was born in Norway, then technically the United States of America is the first country I moved to live here permanently. And it's not really a fit for me. So if I move to one of these countries I want to move to, and it is a fit, that would be the first ever country outside of the country I was born to that's a fit for my living. So I do not recommend the United States to anyone like me. Could not win my heart even if it tried. Has not tried in my 29+ year lifetime. I'm just not the kind of people that America like draw into the country and keep. I don't fall into that category. These days it tends to be more like people from Asia and Africa, not northern, like Arctic European countries. That would be like Arctic Circle, I think is like Norway, Sweden, and Russia. Those are like the most hated groups. And I've been sexually and verbally and physically assaulted because I'm Norwegian, and Americans spread so many lies and falsehoods about what Scandinavian women like in the bedroom and stuff like that, and in pop culture and songs and TV. And then I have to pay for their own lies, and it's like, this has got to be the worst country on planet Earth. I'm not gonna test that out though, but just through my life experience and all the countries I've been to, the United States of America is the worst country on planet Earth, and in this universe. I'll even extrapolate that. Yeah. So there we go. At least, yeah. Nope. This is a pandemic chronology video for today, Friday, 4 November 2022. So there's the date I'm saying this. Okay. So what other countries do I have husbands and or soulmates? So I'm just gonna correct my terminology. Soulmates in. So maybe I move to Ireland and maybe I eat corned beef every day instead of a daily gelato from a gelateria. I do corned beef from a butcher or something. So maybe I don't know, would we buy the beef, the corned beef every day? I don't know. I got at least one Adam that is Irish, perhaps. Up next is Russia. This actually came up with, so I'm writing about the Russian bans that have been going on for at least, well, like the latest they started was like 2020. Across the board. I talked to my parents and they were joking about like, you know, if anybody comes knocking at the door, we're just going to tell them that she's living in Russia now. It's like, and I was like, yeah, maybe I'm living in St. Petersburg, you know. Russia's a really cool one. I have pierogi every day. I don't actually think I've had pierogi. Oh, I'd be like sharing a bed in the Arctic weather with like my Andre on one side and my Evgeny on the other side, or like a different bed or the same bed but different men, like a Vladimir and a Vladimir. I don't know. And that's one where, oddly enough, there's so much snow in Russia and it's so slow to melt that if I move to Russia, that's one where those biographies I'm writing about, the biography box set and stuff, that might, one ginormous 12 feet of snow and you know, for all I know, I get those biographies done in like less than a year or something like that. I haven't lived in snowed-in conditions before, but I could. That is entirely reasonable from my perspective at this point in time. Or like a wild guess and knowing myself, and when I get confined, like I tend to be very productive, so that might actually be true. Up next is, I think I figured out where I was born, kind of thing. Bergen, Norway. So it'd be fun to return home. I do want to return home. I do have soulmates there, and we do have a house there. But if I move there at next, which could be, it might be testing a bit of, well, we'd have to have Norwegian goat cheese every day, daily Norwegian goat cheese, potentially that we make ourselves or something like that, but not necessarily. Or from a cheesery, and okay, and yeah, so that's one where I'm gonna guess that's where if I live long enough and if I live with my soulmates, I'm gonna guess I end up in Norway. It's my home. I want to go home eventually. Okay. Up next is South Africa, so that'd be like Matthew and my Chad. They're still wooing me on that one. I have lived in South Africa before. It was not permanent. It was a 6-month student visa. So it'd be a little bit different with the intent of not leaving the country, right? It's a permanent immigration. It'd be a bit different. A lot of different animals, a lot of wild and open, like wilderness, maybe is the right word. Up next is Brazil. So that's my Bruno and my Cielo. Brazilian barbecue every day. Plus there's a bunch of open space, which like maybe we do just like a bunch of adventuring. I don't know. It'd be fun, like walking the countryside or like a really long road trip or something, but not necessarily through the Amazon because I'd probably die from like the insects. So I don't know. Yeah. I'm adventurous, but not that adventurous, kind of thing. And then up last is Hungary, and that would have to be daily Hungarian pretzels, like big dough, fresh from bakery kind of thing, or maybe made at home. Oh, that'd be so cool. My Christoph or my Daniel or my David or my other Hungarians. I don't know. And then Hungarian bratwurst, the Hungarian version of bratwurst every day with onions. Great smelling breath. Maybe some roasted garlic thrown in. Yeah. So yeah, those are, I guess that's 6 more in addition to Italy and Scotland. I want to move home as soon as possible. Okay. And then I was thinking of a random pandemic daydream, which isn't, I don't know if it's a daydream so much as like just something that like has been continuously talked about since before my lifetime. So it's like World War III, Axis of Evil. So who would be evil? First off, I have the nickname Balthazar, which refers to a demon. So as somebody who kind of, at least partially identifies with that, maybe we should call it access of heavenliness, which is definitely consistent with, came up with 6 countries who are definitely in like a permanent giddy mental state of they are the second coming of God, or they can identify the second coming of God, and everything they do is so good, it's divine and heavenly. So the 6 countries that each on their own and collectively definitely operate in that mental giddiness state is Switzerland, New Zealand, United States of America, France, Australia, and England. And often they get so giddy that they forget about reality entirely and start living in fantasy land. To the point of it violates other people's human rights. And the United States of America is kind of, in my experience traveling the world, is the biggest bully in my lifetime anyway. So early to mid 1990s to present, is widely perceived as the biggest bully in the world. And so in a bunch of these, and that was before I was born, and same with like France and Australia and England, that's been ongoing. New Zealand and Switzerland have kind of emerged as bad entities, at least socially, in my social circles, in my lifetime. And maybe in the past, like, I put that as like 10, 15 years, they've kind of taken the tone towards the little bit distorted from reality. Not quite living fully there, you know. So those are my pandemic daydreams. Just kind of, yeah, a streaking day. Happy day. You want to see the view out the window. It's not quite dark out yet.